Hola, hola. Bienvenidos a Esperanza Pense, donde la Esperanza Pense. Welcome to Esperanza Pense, where hope wins. Today, we're going to use our mundane magic to add a touch of glamour to our day-to-day by channeling the chaos into healthy harvests via companion planting. The Farmer's Almanac offers us a really awesome visual. It's simple, it's clean, it's cute, and this describes which plants like to be with each other. And we can follow these guidelines to boost yields, minimize pest or disease problems, and make garden management easier. And that is what we're here to do. I have a container garden, so I mostly speak from this perspective. So we can use companion planting for our herbs in containers and also for our vegetables and ornamental crops. We can get as complex as we want with it. I love this companion planting guide from Gaia's Organic Gardens in Australia. Something that I really would like to point out is that with the brassicas, now brassicas are going to be any type of plant in the brassica family. You can look it up, but it's going to include kale, cauliflower, broccoli, and I'm going to make a note on brassicas later, but I love how it says always interplant with pungent herbs and edible flowers. That's because they're very susceptible to pests and disease. And I also love how down here they're talking about the strawberry. There is no better flavored strawberry than one grown next to thyme. Well, okay. So see, with companion planting, we can expand from just containers and do a full raised bed garden. Or we can even plot and plant right into the ground in a larger space or more of a small or even large farm setting. In my experience, companion planting has worked extremely well for some of our garden favorites like tomatoes especially. You can see in this diagram how using companion plantings can improve the growth and the flavor for tomatoes, and it can make the plant a little bit more resistant to disease and pests. Although if you plant the wrong things around a tomato plant, you can set yourself up for more of the negative chaos that we're trying to avoid. If we are proper conductors and we conduct our orchestra of chaos appropriately, we can end up with, a garden that's not only ornamental, but it's also functional. We can eat it and enjoy the beauty of it at the same time. I'm growing my cucumbers this year with almost all of these things. I'm growing them with marigolds, beans, peas. I'm going to let my cucumber trellis onto the pea vines. After the peas are sort of done and tired, the cucumber fruit will start to come in and it can trellis on the peas themselves. I have dill to attract the right pollinators. I have nasturtiums to repel the right pests. And I'm going to have sunflowers in the back of my garden just for fun and for the birds. A really important aspect of companion planting is knowing which vegetables and herbs like to be with each other. They like to hang out, they like to commiserate, they like to whoop whoop. But there's some vegetables that you should never grow together. And basically this just boils down to issues of space management, nutrient consumption, pests, disease management, and cross-pollination. For example, I think almost all of us who have chaos gardened before have done this with pumpkins and summer squash. Sometimes when we plant things a little too close to one another, it's really easy to cross-pollinate and come up with a bunch of zombie fruit. A popular herb crop that we need to consider with companion planting is cilantro, because this crop has a tendency to cross-pollinate inappropriately, And we need to pay attention to the best things to plant cilantro by and the worst things to plant cilantro next to, so that we are aware to keep it near the things that it wants to be by and away from the things that it shouldn't be by. Another chaos garden favorite that can be a little finicky is dill. So we need to pay attention to what to plant near dill and what not to plant near dill. For example, dill and cilantro can cross-pollinate, although it's not listed on this particular graphic. So yeah, with chaos gardening, we do sort of trip over our own feet and stumble a little bit, but it's always best to be aware of what's going on. We can do as much research as possible to be, somewhat prepped for our prepping for chaos, and just understand that when you look at one article, it might not mention everything that you need to know about a plant. So I would recommend seeking several sources in order to gain a more holistic overview of which plants will work the best with one another. And if you just aren't having interest or in a position to do so, time-wise or otherwise, and maybe you want your own garden crops at home, but you're not exactly sure where to start, please, by all means, put yourself on my calendar. Go to esperanzavence.com. You can get a hold of me through the contact page, or you can book yourself for a consultation right on my calendar. It's always open for virtual consultations, or if you're local in the Southeast Wisconsin area, I could always do a private consultation. So hit me up and I will be able to point you in the right direction as far as chaos gardening is concerned. So as far as companion planting is concerned, there are some herbs and garden vegetables and flowers that are a little bit more on the finicky side, but for the most part, there are so many plants and herbs that grow well together. And in this visual, you can see what plants love each other because they have similar needs, water-wise, nutrient-wise, and so on. So you can make little small containers that are so cute and delicious too. Or you can make a big container. Here we can see that there's some succulents going on. We have some oregano, some savory, some lemon thyme, different varieties of sage, some rosemary, some lavender. So these plants all have similar needs: drier, sandier soil, and a lot of sunshine and sort of a Mediterranean climate. So as you keep growing throughout the chaos, and as you keep, channeling chaos into a healthy harvest, you're gonna learn which plants decide to like which climates, and you compare them together accordingly. Something I'd like to draw your attention to are edible flowers. I really love having these in the garden for so many reasons. I follow a gardener on YouTube called Epic Gardening, and they offer a mix which includes arugula, bachelor's button, basil, borage, calendula, chives, fennel, Johnny jump up, nasturtium, radish, cygnette, marigold. These are all just flavorful plants that are also beautiful, and I think it would be fun for all of us chaos gardeners to experiment with such. Nasturtium is essential for every garden, in my opinion. It is a spicy flower that is edible and can be used in salads. You can pickle them, you can stuff the flowers and make little snacks with them, but they are essential due to their workhorse power. They prevent a lot of pests, and they repel the right insects, they attract the right insects, and they're just very bright and trellising, and it's a good addition to any garden. Borage is another floral edible crop that might be really fun to try. It tastes like cucumber. The flowers and the leaves are edible, and if you plant it at the perimeter of your garden, hopefully the deer will go and eat that instead of eating your fruits and veggies. No guarantees, but I heard through the grapevine that that has been successful for some farmers that I I have worked with. I'm planting borage in containers this year. It readily self-seeds and will probably come back year after year once it gets established. Another edible floral that I would love to highlight is lemon mint. This is from the Monarda family, which is also called bee balm. There are several varieties of what is considered under the umbrella term of bee balm, but anyway, this attracts pollinators, especially bees, and this is edible. You can put it in jellies, you know, and from the borage and from the lemon mint you could cut off the flowers and freeze them in little ice cubes for sort of like a summer party. It's just a beautiful, fragrant, floral flavor to have around in the garden. And this also reseeds itself. So once you plant it, it's going to spread everywhere. So I would recommend putting something like this in a container. Although most edible florals, you can just sort of interdisperse chaotically throughout your garden and just see what happens. So as promised, I'd like to make a note on brassicas and companion planting. As you can see, this beautiful, idyllic scene full of cabbage and red cabbage, purple cabbage, mint, a little bit of thyme or lemon thyme in the background, those pungent herbs to be planted around the brassicas. In my area, in the Midwest, we've been having a lot of pest issues. We've had cucumber beetles and all kinds of aphids and different things like that. So if you are really into brassicas and you just have to have your cabbage and your broccoli and whatever, I wonder if you want to separate your plots a little bit, or even put out a sacrifice crop so that the pests eat that before they get to your brassicas. But that the pest population and just trying to manage that on a small scale can be really detrimental to your entire garden. So that's just the note that I want to make on brassicas right now, but I would totally encourage anybody to give them a whirl. I mean, I'm growing kale in my garden this year. I'm growing potatoes, but they're kind of going to be on their own, and I'm just going to wait and see if and what pests they attract, and if so, they're in mobile containers so that I can move them away from my other plants before anything too chaotic happens. That said, if we know that pests are going to be an issue in our garden, we can always get ahead of it by planting things that will repel beetles, aphids, deer, or to divert and redirect these problems elsewhere. Some good advice from the Farmer's Almanac regarding cucumber beetles. And here are some plants that we can interdisperse to repel aphids. We do, again, want to be careful with the dill, the fennel, because those can cross-pollinate. But marigolds and leeks too. Not all plants want to be with the allium family, garlic and leeks. So with companion planting, you know, if you decide what you want to have, then you can look up and determine what can't be near it and go from there. But these are some plants that repel aphids, being careful to stay within the guidelines of our orchestrated chaos. As a general rule of thumb, plants that are very fragrant or pungent are going to tend to attract the right pollinators and repel the correct pests. For example, you know, lavender and wild geranium, anything that smells super strong, even bee balm and monarda are known to repel deer from the area. So you might want to plant these on the border of your garden so that the deer don't want to come in and nibble on your nummy little lettuce leaves. And at the end of the day, I just want to encourage everybody to check out a place like agricole.com that's local to me here in Wisconsin, but wherever you live, there hopefully is a company that can provide native prairie seed, wildflower seed. If you have any extra space that you don't want to cultivate grass Ugh, don't even get me started on this crap. But if you want to cultivate a crop other than grass and cultivate something that will be beneficial to your garden now and in the future, you can check out agricole.com. You can check out any type of seed company. Johnny's Seeds, Seed Savers Exchange for a wildflower mix. At Agricole here, they have prairie and wildflower mixes, conservation mixes, butterfly mixes, custom seed mixes, wildlife, food plot. You know, they have mixes that will attract or repel just about any pest or wildlife that you can imagine. And the people that work there are, I actually used to work there. So I know firsthand that their customer service team is outstanding. And I would just encourage anybody with extra space in their garden that they don't know what to do with, plant flowers, you know? Give the butterflies and the bees and the birds a chance to kind of get their groove on. Thank you so much for fine-tuning your free will and intuition with me, for tuning in and learning together how we can channel chaos into healthy harvests. As you know, I am a channeler. I have a YouTube channel and I give consultations regarding the general esoteric energies. I use any type of modality ranging from tarot to astrology to gardening to music in order to create a holistic consulting experience when we can decide how to best add a touch of glamour to our day-to-day and use our mundane magic to the fullest and brightest capacity that we possibly can. You can support me by doing any of the following: like, share, subscribe on YouTube, book a consultation. You can donate via Venmo at Esperanza Pense, PayPal at Esperanza Pense 1111, and you can find all of the ways to contact me if you have any questions or want to reach out for a private consultation or a virtual consultation or any type of collaboration. You can find me at esperanzapense.com. Thank you so much. Bye.